All right. I think we will go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. You are joining the virtual public meeting for the New Mexico 128 phases. Oh, you have joined us for the New Mexico 128 phases 1 and 2 update on design and construction. On the next slide, I've got an announcement about language accessibility. This meeting is available in English and Spanish this evening. Please use the interpretation function on your toolbar. Sometimes that looks like a globe, or sometimes it's under more, depending on what version of Zoom you have, to select your preferred language. Even if your preferred language is English, we'd like you to select that now. All right. We've got some folks in the room that are here this evening that are going to be talking to you tonight. That includes from the New Mexico Department of Transportation, Sherry Hollyfield, as well as Francisco Sanchez, Michael Smelker, and Jason Smith. And from the consultant team, we have project manager Andrew Sutliff, Arturo Bernal, Dominic Montoya, and I am Nick Fazio. I'm going to be your Zoom host this evening. Our agenda this evening is on the screen. You'll see that we'll take about half an hour to get through the project presentation. We're going to cover background and some recap of the study that was done previously. We'll talk about design and construction phasing for both phases 1 and 2. We'll also go through some schedule and next steps, and we will end off with how to comment. We want your input. We look forward to hearing from you, so we'll provide some instructions on how to do that. And then we'll open the floor for questions and answers. And just a few reminders, general comments, and ground rules. We ask that everyone is respectful of each other making your comments tonight. If you are joining us on the public side, you should be able to raise your virtual hand. That function is located on your Zoom toolbar. That will put you into the queue so that we know to comment or call on you to make your comment, and we'll let you know when you are able to unmute yourself. We ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes, and if there's time permitting at the end, we'll call on you again if you have another question or comment that you'd like to make. And then this meeting is recorded to make sure that all comments and questions have been documented. These recordings will be available on the project website at a later date. And right now, I'd like to turn it over to Michael Smelker with the New Mexico Department of Transportation to begin the presentation.
Welcome everybody. My name is Michael Smelker. I'm the Assistant District Engineer for New Mexico District 2. I'm the Construction ADE. Today what I'll do is go ahead and kind of bring you back into the project area. We started this project actually as a design project, and it started in the fall of 2020 with a study, and we completed that study in the summer of 2022. So it's kind of been a little bit of a long time since we've actually had some meetings about these projects. Since then, what we've been doing is we've changed it from a design build to a standard bid build practice due to funding and trying to emphasize on the needs of of enhancing the safety along this corridor. So we've been working on the environmental documents, we've been obtaining funding, and we've been obtaining right-of-way acquisitions for these projects. Currently, what we have is 2 projects that are in the design process and actually have been completed. The first one that we're going to talk about is construction phase 1, which is the JOW portion, and it's actually already getting ready to be let in June of 2025. It's about a $50 million project, and we're actually anticipating construction to start sometime in the fall of 2025, late fall of 2025. So we'll be going ahead and giving you a little bit of emphasis on that. One thing I wanted to do to mention to you guys about that project is once we go ahead and let this project in June, we'll be going ahead and getting a contractor on board. And once we get that contractor on board, we'll be going ahead and coming to JAL with the contractor to meet with the stakeholders, to meet with private citizens, and let you guys inform you guys of more of what the contractor's construction sequence will be within that project of JAL. So we're going to give you a brief overall what JAL was, but we'll go ahead and, once the contractor's on board, we'll go ahead and be bringing that to you here in the fall of 2025.
The next Michael, sorry to interrupt. This is Nick, your Zoom host. If you could slow down just a little bit for our interpreters, that would help.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. I will. Okay. The next phase that we're looking at doing is phase 2. So what we've done is we've broken it up along 128. Phase 2 is going to consist of 3 major intersections. It's going to consist of the Brindstool Diamond intersection, the Delaware intersection, and Battle Axe. Right now, we're at about 90% done with the design. We're in the process of acquiring right-of-way acquisition, and we're looking at going out to final production on this project in the summer of 2025 and probably letting the project sometime in the fall of 2025. So this one will probably start construction probably late spring, early summer of 2026. We can go ahead and go to the next slide and we'll show you where these two projects are. So as you can see, JAL is a segment of JAL which is within the city limits. It goes from about milepost 50.6 to 53.7, and it'll go ahead and be about a $50 million project. We're also looking at doing phase 2, which, like I mentioned before, which will be Grindstone and Diamond, Delaware Basin, Battle Axe. As he describes this in future, those will be 4-lane facilities, divided highways for those corridors. But we're emphasizing the safety along this corridor at these intersections. We can go ahead and go to the next project, and these are going to be our future projects that we can talk about on the next page. So on the next map, as you can see in the middle there, it's kind of the teal blue color. We have New Mexico 128 Phase 3 design. What we're doing here is we're going ahead and capturing the WIP intersection, and we're actually capturing Orla and Buck Jackson. So we're actually going to build Orla and Buck Jackson, and we're going to actually tie that together with a divided highway and improve those intersections, because we know that Orla and Buck Jacksons are probably a couple of your major intersections along the corridor. This project actually is funded through a grant right now, and we're looking at probably putting this one out after 2027, probably in late 2026, and so construction will probably start sometime in 2027. We're still having to go ahead and acquire right-of-way on this phase here, so it's a little bit further behind. What our goal is to do is finish up phase 2, and then we're going to roll directly into construction for phase 3 of these other intersections, so they're not all sitting up on top of each other. The other project is not funded yet, but that's New Mexico 31, phase 4. And that one actually goes from milepost 0.5 to around milepost 8, or the New Mexico 31 128 intersection. That does not include the bridge over the Pecos, but right now that's anticipated to be a 4-lane divided highway for that portion there. So we're looking at that one as we get funding for that, but that one will be out in the outer years at this time because it's not currently funded at this time. Now I want to go ahead and mention a couple of the projects that we're actually currently under construction or will be under construction here shortly. US 285-31 intersection, which is right there there it is. That project is currently under construction. As you guys know, we did an offset of the 31-285 intersection to make it a 4-lane intersection. And we're anticipating that one to be completed in the fall of 2025. We're working with the railroad on that one. So depending on the railroad and getting all those configurations put together there, that one's kind of pretty much on schedule for completion sometime late fall of 2025. The other one, then we can go ahead and go back over to JAL. We got a couple projects over there that we've been working on. One of them that you guys have probably been seeing is the New Mexico 128 Rehabilitation Project. This is a maintenance project that the district has been working on, and we're actually getting ready to wrap this project up. We did a mill and fill from the city limits of JAL to the Texas state line. So that one's wrapping up to go ahead and kind of improve that pavement until we're able to go ahead and do a full-blown rehab on that project. We're getting ready to start another one within the next month, and that's the New Mexico 18. It's an FDR project on the north and southbound lanes. And that project will go from, let me see here. That one goes from the city limits out about 6 or 7 miles. And so we're going to go ahead and do an FDR. We're planning on getting that one started now, and hopefully that one will be done by the fall of 2025, just before JAL gets started. So we're trying to upgrade that pavement condition on that road. We also, it's not shown on here right now, but we actually also have the FDR project for New Mexico 18 under design from the milepost, I think it's milepost 16 to milepost 22. So we actually have another phase, but we're not sure when that one will actually let, but we're actually in the process of getting it designed due to the condition of that pavement. But we'll be coordinating that one with the JAL project whenever we determine it's a good time to go ahead and put that project out. So these are the projects that we're actually looking for. Probably within the next 3 to 5 years, we're probably going to have anywhere between 200 million to $300 million worth of projects just in this New Mexico 128-31 corridor area. So right now what I'll do is I'm going to turn it over to Andrew, and he's going to go ahead and go in a little bit more depth of the projects and kind of discuss the improvements that we plan on making along this corridor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Michael, and good evening, everyone. My name is Andrew Sutliff. I'm a highway engineer and project manager with a firm called WSP, and our team has been working with NMDOT for the past few years on the NM 128 improvements projects. So believe me when I say I understand it's been a long time coming, and we're really excited to be here with you tonight to give you this update and to say that, as Michael mentioned, that these projects are going to construction very soon, these first couple phases. So if you have been following the project, you might remember a couple years back, we were on a meeting similar to this virtual public meeting tonight, and that was to review the study that was performed on the corridor. We did develop a study that evaluated some issues and recommendations, and I think it's worth going over those very briefly before jumping into the first couple phases. So I do understand that it might not take an engineering study to see these big issues that are happening on the corridor. If you are on this meeting, you're likely driving through this highway, or maybe you know your friends or neighbors that do. And there are a lot of crashes happening. When we worked through the study, there was a 6-year period that we evaluated, and over 700 crashes were documented during that period through this project area. And a lot of the types of crashes that we found were head-on collisions, T-bones, overturns, and then, of course, rear ends, all of which were resulting in over a quarter of them leading to deaths or serious injuries. And when we dove even further into the study, we saw that that was happening because the existing facility is just 2 lanes, and there aren't very many or aren't any passing areas to use. There also are inconsistent turn lanes at the major intersections, which is leading to conflict points, and then narrower, inconsistent shoulders. These elements also contribute to poor traffic flow. Again, if you've driven the corridor, I'm sure you'd understand what I'm saying when there are long rows of vehicles traveling through the corridor, and with no passing areas, sometimes maybe people want to take an aggressive passing maneuver, and when there's not adequate space to do so, it could lead to crashes or other dangerous situations. A couple other issues that were identified is that the pavement is in really poor or crumbling condition. The NMDOT has been working very diligently to repair or fix up the pavement in certain portions of the corridor, but the truth is, as part of this project, we also need to look into repairing or reconstructing the pavement. There are also quite a lot of drainage pipes underneath the highway. And what we've noticed is that sometimes fast lines get run through those pipes. We have some photos of that later on in the presentation. And also sand can clog those pipes and create some maintenance challenges for NMDOT's staff. And if not addressed, then that can lead to flooding in the roadway. The last point on here is about unpermitted access turnoffs. I'll admit that I probably don't use my blinker as well as I should when I'm driving, and I'm sure you all have seen if you're driving and the person in front of you, all of a sudden brakes and needs to turn off the road. it can be a scary situation if you aren't able to predict when that is happening. So the more we can define where those turnoffs are, or provide, even better, provide turn lanes that can reduce those rear end crashes that are happening because of those turnoffs. So moving forward into the recommendations from the study, of course, adding turn lanes with the proper length so that large vehicles that travel through this highway can safely slow down and make their turn. Also adding a median for separation of the eastbound and westbound travel directions. And this is really important for a few reasons, and we'll touch on that later in the presentation. Also, of course, providing passing areas and additional capacity. This might look different in certain intersections, or whether you're in the urban section of the city of Jowl versus the more rural portions of the corridor. Michael mentioned that in some cases, this is widening to a 4-lane divided highway facility. And the point is to spread out traffic so that it allows more space for people to make safe turning maneuvers. Also, some other recommendations from the study were to widen the outside shoulders, add rumble strips, and add lighting at major intersections, and especially the merge points. So it's also worth acknowledging that this highway is a major supply route for some key industries, not only for New Mexico, but for the United States as a whole. Of course, one of those being the oil and gas industry, but also potash production. And NM128 is an alternate site for the WIP site, the Waste Isolation Pilot Plant. So this gives some context into the types of vehicles that are traveling through the highway. And these are very large vehicles that are being driven by perhaps your neighbors, friends, families, and carrying valuable resources. So we understand that this is critical to provide safe and maintained highway facilities on NM128. So that's just a quick recap of some points that came out of the study, but what we really want to move on to is the first 2 phases. And Michael gave an overview of the status of these, but as a reminder, the first phase has completed design and is currently preparing to go out to bid in the coming few weeks. So if there are any contractors on the line, please keep an eye out on NMDOT's bidding website for this project. This project, it starts about 1,000 feet west of Wyoming Road and continues approximately 3 miles to the right side of the screen, 1,200 feet east of Schooley Road through the city of Jowl. The next slide shows the section. So if you could pretend that you were driving behind this red pickup on the right side of the screen, this is the lane configuration that you would see. It looks similar to what's there today, but with a few key major changes, mainly that the lanes are wider and the shoulders are wider to accommodate large vehicles traveling through the city, but also making turning movements into businesses or side streets. We also have added right turn lanes. It doesn't show on the screen here, but added right turn lanes at key intersections and a widened section between 3rd Street and NM18 for left and right turn lanes. And that's important because the project will be adding brand new traffic signals at the 3rd Street and NM18 intersections. Today, it's just 4-way stops. And we believe that those traffic signals, which will be in sync with each other, will make a pretty significant difference on ensuring smooth traffic flow through the city and cut down those travel times that are seen today. Some other improvements that, again, are not shown on this image are there will be brand new street lighting throughout the project, sidewalks, and storm drain that will be installed. That storm drain will help collect any water that's ponding on the road, and we believe that's contributing to the pavement crumbling over time that's happening today. So we're going to get water off of the road, and we'll have a brand new smooth pavement section. Yeah, quite a bit of improvements in this project. So Something that I'd like everyone to know is when the contractor comes on board, whoever the winning bidder is, there are requirements for them to come back to the public with at the beginning of construction, but also whenever there are major phase changes or major pieces of work happening as part of the project. So you'll get notices, whether it's online on a website, radio, advertisements, or mailers. The contractor will be responsible for communicating when there are the construction progress. But we did feel it was worth giving everyone a heads up on how that project may be constructed and where traffic will be anticipated to be during this. So the first phase is shown on the screen, and this is where the contractor will build the north side of the roadway. Traffic will be on shift to the south side of the roadway. There'll be one lane of eastbound and one lane of westbound throughout the duration of the project. And this phase is really important because it's when the contractor will be constructing the new storm drain, most of the new storm drain system. So we expect this may be the longest phase during the project. But and then another note, pedestrian access will be maintained on the existing sidewalks on the south side of the roadway. But as the work progresses, you'll see on the next slide that the contractor will finish the north part of the road, move to the middle. That brand new pavement on the north side will be used for the westbound traffic. And then continuing to the next slide, the last phase is that the contractor will work on the south side of the road, and both lanes of traffic will be on the brand new pavement on the that has just been completed on the north side. Um, so yeah, so something that may or may not have been apparent, but since we are maintaining the one lane of traffic each direction, uh, the left turn lanes will be restricted except for at these intersections: Schooley Road, NM18, 3rd Street, and Wyoming Road. And this is really important. It's not taken lightly. As you can see, this picture on the right is an example of what that storm drain and just general construction will look like. It requires a lot of space so that the contractor can work safely and efficiently to be able to construct this project, again, quickly and safely, and also to keep the construction equipment a safe distance from the vehicles that are passing by. Also, by being strategic about where these left turns are happening, it can cut down on the backups that are happening. If someone stops in the middle of the road to try to make a left turn, it backups for everyone else. So this has been, again, this was presented in during the study phase, but just thought it was worth the reminder that it might have to plan a slightly different route if needed, but the contractor will make these turning movements signed very clearly, so you'll be able to see where you can and can't make turns. And again, they will be coming and letting you know ahead of time when this happens. The next slide shows another piece that we wanted to let everyone know about, kind of give a heads up, is that there will be a portion during the construction process where the railroad tracks that cross NM128 just near the NM18 intersection, those tracks need to be reconstructed. And in order to do that in a very, again, quick and efficient way, that will include a complete but temporary closure of NM128 at the tracks. We're expecting this to take in the range of 3 to 5 days. And again, this will be shared with the public prior to the railroad construction and closure. And the detour routing will be clearly signed, but it may look something similar to what's shown on the next slide, which is for eastbound traffic. That will be diverted up north on 3rd Street, past the Country Club, and then back down on NM18. Westbound traffic would be diverted a slightly different route, south on NM18, over to Merriman and through the city streets to get back to NM128. And again, this is all to ensure that the contractor can build efficiently, and it's all about getting this project done as quickly as it can be, so that way you're can appreciate the benefits of the improvements that are being installed. So the next part of the presentation, I'll pass this over to my colleague, Arturo Benal, who is the design lead for phase 2, to discuss this part of the project.
Thanks, Andrew. Moving on to the final design for New Mexico 128 phase 2. It is comprised of the Brennan-Stool Diamond intersection through the Delaware Basin intersection as segment 1. Segment 2 will be the Battle Axe intersection with New Mexico 128. Next slide. So this phase 2 typical section will be a new divided highway. It will consist of two 12-foot lanes with 4 to 6 foot inside shoulders and 8 to 10 foot outside shoulders. The total length of the project where this section is used is approximately 8 miles, 5 of those miles being in segment 1 between the first 2 intersections, and approximately 3 miles in segment 2. This section was chosen because it improves traffic flow and spreads out traffic to make turning movements easier. It provides passing areas throughout the 8 miles. It greatly reduces head-on collisions and allows for easier constructability. Next slide. Major intersections, that's what drove this project. So on the screen, you can see the existing T intersection configuration. This is typical throughout the corridor. It has 1 lane in each direction with right turn and left turn deceleration lanes onto intersecting roads. During the study phase, several intersection option treatments were analyzed, ultimately settling on the high T configuration shown on the next slide. This is a graphical rendering of what the high T intersection will look like once completed. The high T was chosen because it does keep traffic moving on the main line while providing left and right turn deceleration lanes onto intersecting roads. The left turn lane onto New Mexico 128 is made safer by allowing vehicles to focus on one side of the highway at a time. And it also has an added acceleration lane that will allow you to safely merge with mainline traffic. This intersection, or all the intersections, will be lit as well as any merge points. At this time, traffic signals were not warranted, so they are not included in this project, but this intersection configuration does allow for future signalization when warranted. The other intersection is the full axis intersection at Brennan-Stool and Diamond. As you can see on the screen, the existing alignment was offset between Brennan-Stool and Diamond. In coordination with Lee County, we are able to realign the Brennan-Stool road better with Diamond to provide a full axis intersection. Along with this, we are including tapered left turn deceleration lanes to provide positive offset and adequate sight distance for those turning movements. Right turn deceleration lanes, and this one will also have lighting throughout the intersection. And similar to the high T's, this configuration can be signalized when warranted. Next slide. On the minor intersections, the minor turnouts will be paved, but you can see on the screen we will have an additional base course shoulder that will allow for larger vehicle off-tracking if needed, given the traffic vehicles that are typically out there. On U-turns, we do have, given that it is a divided highway, we are strategically placing U-turns about 1 mile to 1.5 miles apart. This will take about 60 minutes to travel at the posted speed of 55 miles an hour. So total of 2 minutes in both directions. Please keep in mind the enhanced safety of making this turn and only having to worry about one side of traffic at a time is worth the 2 extra minutes of your commute. Next slide. So bicycle considerations, the NMDOT's bike plan has designated NM 128 as a bike facility due to its long east-west reaches. and Lee County has been designated on the NMDOT's Vulnerable Roadway User Safety Assessment as demonstrating a high need for safety. The design team was able to accommodate bicycle facilities utilizing the 8-foot shoulders and adding refuge areas to the raised median, as you can see on the screen, without any special design changes or added cost to the project. Next slide. On pavement, we are utilizing full depth reclamation on the existing lanes throughout the corridor. This is a faster, more efficient method of construction as it utilizes the existing pavement and base course to create a new base. We are then coming back and placing a 6-inch HMA pavement over the FDR section after it's been treated and compacted. On construction phasing, again, going back to the divided median, the nice thing about it is we are able to construct the first phase completely off of the main line as shown on the screen. The 2 main phases will allow for adjacent construction while traffic is maintained in existing conditions. This will allow construction to go as quickly as possible as the contractor can work again completely off the main line. Major intersections will be coordinated with each other and other NMDOT construction projects so that disruptions and detours are minimized throughout. The next phase, we have the second construction phase, which will shift traffic onto the newly constructed road and maintain eastbound, westbound movements on that section while the contractor goes back and reconstructs the existing lanes. Next slide. On utilities, so we have been coordinating with the utility companies throughout the design, and we will continue to do so. But yeah, coordination is definitely crucial to avoid any costly delays. As you can see on the image, there are fast lines are routed through crossing culverts, which do pose a risk as the culverts do lose capacity and lines facilitate clogging as shown. So we do encourage utilities to cooperate. They have for the most part, but yeah, it'd be good to get those relocated ahead of time, or if we need to do them concurrent with construction, to have that coordination with the contractor. So on to schedule and next steps. You can go to the next slide. Going back to the phase 1 and phase 2 map. Phase 1, the gel segment is slated for construction in fall of 2025, with phase 2 starting in early 2026. Again, these two will be coordinated with each other to minimize impacts to the communities. Next slide. So again, phase 1 bids are due June of this year, with phase 1 construction starting fall of 2025. Phase 2 design plans will be completed summer 2025, with phase 2 construction anticipated to start early 2026. The construction contractors will engage the public with updates. Additional design phases are in progress and will be shared with the public as they near completion and funding is identified. And I'll pass it on to Nick Fazio on how to comment.
Thanks, Arturo. So as we mentioned earlier in the presentation, we do want your input. We want to know what questions you have, and if you have any comments on topics such as the construction phasing or access or the improvements themselves, we want to know about them. So to submit those comments, we ask that you do so by May 18th. That's a Sunday, so you have through the weekend to submit your comments. And there's a few different methods that you can use. You can submit your comments via email to Emily. Her email address is emily.engelbart@wsp.com. There's also a comment form that's online, and it's available at the project website. So the project website is on the screen right now. You can also use snail mail if you'd like to handwrite your comment, or if you have a neighbor or a friend or a family member that prefers to do things via U.S. Postal Service. Go ahead and write that comment and send it to us, care of Emily Engelbart, attention NM 31128. And the address is 2440 Louisiana Boulevard Northeast, Suite 400 in Albuquerque, New Mexico 87110. Or you can call and leave a voicemail at 878-6554. And with that, we thank you for participating. I think we have Francisco Sanchez with the New Mexico Department of Transportation to offer some closing remarks.
Good evening, all. Francisco Sanchez, NMDOT District 2 Engineer. I just want to say thank you for spending your evening with us and learning more about our New Mexico 128 projects. Please feel free. I encourage you to submit your comments, questions. Your input is extremely important to our process. It helps us deliver a better project. Your input will be heard. I just want to say thank you to Andrew and Nick, the WSP team, and all the hard work they put into these projects. NMDOT District 2 staff, South Region Design, and our team members and out of our general office. Thank you for your commitment to Southeast New Mexico and our New Mexico 128 projects. And thank you, public, for your patience as we've worked to develop these projects and acquiring these funding and acquiring funds to deliver these into construction. As District 2 engineer, I'm extremely excited to finally see some shovels in the ground. I'm excited to deliver these needed projects to all individuals that drive this corridor, your families, and our industry partners, that this route is critical. So looking forward to construction. And thank you once again for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us tonight.
Great. Thank you, Francisco. And so for members of the public, now's the opportunity for you to ask your questions, provide any comments that you may have. There's a couple different ways that you can do that this evening. You can use the question and answer function that's available on your toolbar. If you'd like to submit a written question or a written comment, you can go ahead and do that in the Q&A box. You should also have the ability to raise your virtual hand. So if you'd like to come off mute, ask a question, or make a comment for the project team, go ahead and raise your virtual hand now, and I will call on you in the order your hand is raised. So we'll give people a few seconds to raise their virtual hands if they'd like. Okay, we'll give it a few more seconds here. If there are any members of the public that would like to ask a question, now's a good time. Raise your virtual hand. You can also use that question and answer box in the toolbar. Okay. Well, Andrew, we do have a question in the Q&A box. The question is, will U-turns allow for semi-trucks to complete a safe turn?
Yes. So the short answer is yes. We did design the U-turns so that semi trucks can complete the turn. You may have noticed that after the U-turn there is that extended pavement that has a maybe somewhat funny looking design, but that's to allow those trucks to be able to complete the turn and then accelerate back onto the main line. So it was really important that we accommodated those turns.
Great. Thank you for that question. Anybody else? Folks out there with questions or comments? All right. Well, we'll give it a few more seconds here in case something comes to someone. But just a friendly reminder, Christian, maybe if we can go back one slide, we'll take a quick look at the different options that folks have to provide their comment. Again, we ask you provide your comment by Sunday, May 18th. You can send us an email to emily.engelbart@wsp.com. You can go online and submit your comment using the online comment form. The website address for that comment form is on the screen. You can also send us a old-fashioned letter, care of Emily Engelbart, to our address in Albuquerque at at 2440 Louisiana Boulevard, Suite 400 in Albuquerque, zip code 87110, or call and leave us a voicemail, 505-878-6554. And Andrew, we do have another question here in the Q&A box. The question is, for the second construction phase of phase 2, will all driveways on the north side of the road be open?
Yes. So there are some turnouts or turnoffs that NMDOT will be working with the property owners to apply for the permits in the case that they are unpermitted. But yes, the intention is that for all permitted access points on that north side, those will be available for traffic to access. I think what we're planning on is the contractor will need to build up that where the median will be. They'll build that up and use some temporary pavement so that access can still be maintained to those turnoffs. And any special cases would certainly be coordinated with the property owner, but at this time we do anticipate that there will be access through the use of that temporary pavement.
Okay, very good. Other folks, comments or questions? Okay. Well, seeing none, friendly reminder of how to comment is up on your screen right now. I think that probably does it for this evening. Andrew, Michael, or Francisco, any final thoughts before we say goodnight?
Well, no, we just really appreciate everyone's participation, and as has been said, we do welcome comments, and please check out the website. There is, I believe right now we have a copy of the study that had been done is uploaded to the project website right now as of this recording, and we'll be working to probably also get this recording up as well as any other supporting documents. So yeah, thank you everyone for your time and hope everyone has a great evening.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Send in your comments by May 18th. Take care. Be safe. Have a good evening.